Well, we talked in a video just the other day about how Hulu and Fubo came to an agreement that would end Fubo's lawsuit that was stopping Venu Sports from going forward. And if you're not familiar with what Venu Sports was, this was the conglomerate that was going to be Disney, it was going to be Warner Brothers, and it was going to be Fox, that they were going to come together for a joint venture sports streaming service. And it seems now, after this lawsuit has been dropped and Disney now has set up a joint venture with Fubo on some level, we weren't sure on the details of it, but that was something that was going to be formulated or happening in the next 12 to 18 months with a different name perhaps and things like that. It's being reported that the Venu conglomerate that initially Disney was trying to form with Warner Brothers and Fox is no more. So we got an article here from the New York Times we're going to read through and give some thoughts on this. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. It says, sports streaming service from media giant ends before it starts. Venu Sports, a joint venture among Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers, was announced to great fanfare last year, but was discontinued before it even became available. Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers said on Friday that their forthcoming sports streaming service, which was announced to great fanfare last year before being hit by legal challenges by Fubo, would be discontinued. The service had been given a name, Venu Sports, a management team led by former Apple executive Pete Distad, and a target launch date of August 23rd, 2024, but the date passed and little else had been said publicly by the companies until the news that the joint venture was ending. In an ever-changing marketplace, we determined that it was best to meet the evolving demands of sports fans by focusing on existing products and distribution channels, the company said in a statement. Venu Sports was a curious offering that seemed to be a bridge between the old cable bundle and the new world of a la carte streaming services. By combining the sports content of the three companies along with non-sports shows, it was made for the fan who liked sports enough to pay $42.99 per month for a bundled streaming service, but did not want to pay $80 per month or more for the full cable bundle, which would include channels like NBC, CBS, and USA that also show a lot of sports. It was never given a chance to see if there was a big enough audience for that kind of offering. Just 2 weeks after the joint venture was announced, the companies were sued by Fubo, a niche streaming service that focuses on distributing live sports, which claimed the companies were engaging in anti-competitive behavior. When Fubo wanted to distribute the company's sports channels, it had to pay for it and also distribute the channel's non-sports channels like Nat Geo Wild and Cartoon Network, but they allowed Venu to distribute only their sports channels. The federal judge agreed that this was anti-competitive behavior in August. In her ruling, she wrote that Fubo would likely succeed in a trial demonstrating that Venu will substantially lessen competition or tend to create a monopoly in the contravention of its country's antitrust laws. As of late this week, however, it looked as if Venu was on track for a delayed start. On Monday, Disney said it was combining its Hulu live division business with Fubo, forming a company that will have 6.2 million live television subscribers that would make it the country's sixth largest paid television distributor. Disney will own 70% of that new company. Fubo and the joint venture partners petitioned the court to dismiss the lawsuit, and that was granted on Wednesday. But a day later, the satellite television providers DirecTV and EchoStar wrote letters to the judge imploring her to preserve her findings in the case. By this settlement, defendants pay off and seek to subsume the very competitor that raised these antitrust violations to the court, DirecTV wrote in its letter, in which it also said it was evaluating its options with respect to the joint venture, a thinly veiled suggestion that it could too also sue. A day later, Venu Sports was dead. I have a lot of questions if Venu was even almost a real thing. It just seems like it was... I don't know. It was strange. I suppose I see it like it's obviously a lot of these cable providers trying to get in on the streaming side on some way. And sports, live sports streaming is something that is very profitable. It's probably only going to continue to grow as certain sports, grow. And that's obviously where Disney, I think, sees a lot of their TV future is not only in streaming side with Disney Plus as the linear side goes away, but you're looking at sports getting more involved in that. So I think that was just their way of trying to break in more market there. Now, this deal with Fubo, I keep wanting to say Fubu, but Fubo, I don't really know what it'll mean. We don't even know what it's going to be called. Like, it's an interesting setup because they're getting $200 and some odd million, and it seemed like from the language that also it was going to be like Fox and Warner Brothers pitching in with this, but then they also can get like $100 and some odd million loan from Disney as well. It was an interesting thing. It seemed like it was just basically paying off somebody that was filing this lawsuit so that Venu could move forward. but now it seems that Venu is dead because it seemed like DirecTV and some others were going to step up in the place where where Fubo had stepped in there. And maybe they just figured with all this litigation going on, it was just going to be way easier just to not do this and not move forward, which is very likely what it could be there. But, I don't think this is the last time we're going to see, joining up forces in the streaming world, because I do think what's going to end up happening here is that you're just going to see a lot of mergers when it comes to the streaming side of things, because you have your Netflix. Well, technically, you have YouTube, which is the top streamer, but it's not the same thing as, say, a Netflix. But Netflix is the top, I guess you would just say, paid, scripted television streamer. And everybody else after that is just trying to pick up the scraps. And it's not even really close. I mean, Hulu would have been second, but now Disney owns Hulu, which that is going into Disney Plus, and you got ESPN. Disney Plus is still not a profitable enterprise for Disney. I believe it's somewhere $13 billion in the hole. But I do think Disney Plus will be the one standing just because of the size that they are and the fact that they do have Hulu and they do have assets they can use for that. But I think, you look at Paramount, it's being bought by Spyglass. You're going to see a lot of these kind of, if the studios don't join forces, they're at least going to come up with agreements to allow their stuff to be streamed on, Netflix and things like that, which is how Netflix became Netflix in the first place. I mean, it wasn't Netflix's original programming. It was the fact that they had, reruns of like The Office and Friends and Parks and Rec that they were able to license. And so NBC and whoever owned the rights to it was making money on it, and so was Netflix, and they all got the idea, well, let's do our own streaming service and become, Netflix, which not everybody's going to be able to do that. And I think they all thought there was way more money in streaming than what there is, because during COVID, for whatever reason, they all thought that once everybody was locked into their homes, or at least some people, that they were never going to leave again, but that clearly was not the case there. And ever since then, you have seen basically nobody but Netflix make any money from their streaming for the most part. Sort of a quarter here or there, but for the most part, most of them have not been making money. But the linear TV side has been dwindling and going away, especially in terms of Disney with ABC. And so trying to figure out all these things, and I think what is happening is Disney Plus is just basically becoming the Disney hub as everything transitions from linear over to streaming. We'll have to wait and see how it all ends up playing out, if it's successful, if this is going to work. But I definitely think sports streaming is going to be a major part of that, as, Disney already has relationships with like the NBA and likes like that. So this very well could be something that gets tried again in a different format. But if it's not Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers, it's going to be somebody else trying to somehow do either joint ventures, or they're going to use each other's content for things, because I think that's how they're all going to have to get by to survive, on top of everybody doing an ad tier to their basically subscription offerings. But either way, it looks like Venu is dead before it started, and it looks like now Disney and Fubo are starting some sort of joint venture streaming service together. So we'll have to wait and see what ends up coming of that. But as of right now, Venu's gone, and Disney's basically just got ESPN and ABC to do the live sports streaming as of now. But either way, that's going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of theme parks and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you later.